welcome to another episode of the Mojo Hour Show. My name's Pamela Sylvan, your host, and I'm so happy that you're here today. It's a special day, and I'm changing up the order a little bit. But before I do, just let me welcome you to this episode, especially if you're here for the first time. I am a mentor. I mentor executive women. I unshackle them so they're able to rise to their next level of effectiveness. And I hope you're able to join me on this journey either through my website or through these weekly shows here on the Win-Win Women Network. So, like I said, today is a special day. The order is changed up just a little bit because I want you to stay till the end because I have an incredible launch that I want you to be part of as part of this studio audience today. So I'm just going to go right into today's topic. So the find of the week will be at the end. Now, if you were with me last week, you know that I had put out the Mojo plan for you. Now, if you visit my website, I have the plan on the front of on the homepage there for those that want to do a little bit of catching up and want to spend some time talking to me about it. So today we're moving into part 2. Last week, I talked about the fact that we are more than we realize. We have an inner power, which I happen to call mojo, that we really don't spend a lot of time engaged with because we are too busy looking on the outside for things. We don't hold counsel with ourselves to find out exactly what is good for us, what we need to do next, and why we need to be doing these things because we're too busy looking at what everybody else is doing and trusting what everybody has to say about our own lives. Nobody knows better than ourselves what is good for us. But because we have no faith and trust in ourselves, we listen to other people. Now, here's the thing. There is nothing wrong with taking counsel from other people, but it's not the definitive word on what you need to be and need to be doing. We have to also hold counsel with our own selves. And this is the type of thing I train and hold space for people with because most times when people show up at my doorstep, usually online, it's because there's this lack of connection with themselves and what they're supposed to do next. You know, we go to school most of our young life to learn concepts and to learn things and to become great employees out there. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the only missing ingredient during that journey is how do we connect to the power within, the most important power out there. So we are disconnected individuals. So in part 1 of the prosperity plan was a conversation I had with you about that to start recognizing this. And this conversation is not new. It's millennial old. I think I just made up a word. It's been around for thousands of years, but we in the modern times are now bringing it into definitive forms and concepts that people can pick up. And even in the world of science, they are now engaged in the connection to our inner world and how it affects the outer world and how the two come together and manifest things. So I'm right there with the scientists who are talking about the field and the field in connection to how things come into the world. You know, how we talk about icebergs, for instance, how we see the tip of the iceberg, but the biggest part of that iceberg is where we can't see it. It's beneath our view. Same it is with our power. Our biggest part of ourselves is not this body that we inhabit, it's what lies deep below. And I'm a huge proponent of talking about these concepts. And I know at one point in time it was not very popular to talk about these things, but I'm all out in the open with it. It matters not what anybody has to say because, folks, we need to become reconnected to ourselves in such a way that we can lead happier lives, more engaged lives. It's not to say trouble won't come our way and obstacles won't roll down the hill at us. I'm not saying that. We're not talking about magical types of lives, but more empowered living for us to the point that we are able to take care of things when we need to take care of them and feel good about it and know that we can take care of it. When you look around the planet right now, there's so many people running to and fro looking for help, so many people who are going through anxiety and depression. And really, if you look at the conditions on the planet, you really can't blame them. But I'm here to say, stop. There is another way to live life. And the prosperity plan, I know when people hear the word prosperity, they think I'm talking cash. Now, money is a huge idea on this planet on how we exchange for things for goods. And yes, we need money to do that because it's the game we all decided that we're going to play here together. But it's not the only form of prosperity I'm talking about. The kind of prosperity I'm talking about is knowing that you can affect things around you, that you can bring in the money when you need to bring in the money, that you can heal yourself when you need to heal, that you can have outstanding relationships and friends and love relationships and whatever you need, that you can have options. A lot of people feel trapped on this planet because they don't feel they have options. And I totally understand that. So, this is why I'm engaged in talking about the prosperity plan, because for me, it's about what can I do? What tool can I give people out there that will help them bypass all of these concerns and issues and frustrations and stress? Because so many people out there are under, I would say, heaviness and darkness right now. So, let's get on with part two. Now, in part one, I gave you a handout. I don't know if you went and downloaded it or not, but maybe you might have been able to just sort of jot things down on your own. I talked about putting down what you want. This is where most people get stuck. The majority of the people out there plug into a job, and it may not have been the job of their liking, but it's a job. And they do this thing over and over and over again, and hopefully they make it to the end of somewhere, right? Without actually asking themselves the most important question: what do you actually want? Now, most people either they're too afraid to state what they want because they might have to actually do something about it, or they truly can't get themselves to a place of deciding and choosing. It's one of the most prolific blocks that I deal with people is to state what you want. Now, as I said, when the people start working with me, I have them write down 100 things that they either want to have or to be or to experience or anything like that. And it is like pulling teeth, to be honest with you. If they can get past 10, it's a haul. So we have to work at how to open their mind to think themselves into what it is they actually want. And again, you don't have to stay stuck on these things or ideas or choices, but at least open up your imagination. Remember when we were children, how easy it was to choose? Every other minute you wanted something new and different or to be something new and different. And it was so easy for us to flip back and forth. Now as adults, we have, here's another word I'm going to make up, concretized ourselves into one lane, and we don't look to the right or left, and we hope to make it to the end of something. And our whole lives is dependent on making it to the end of this place we're going, usually called retirement. And what we do after that, who knows? Or we become so concretized in that label, I'm a manager, I'm a CEO, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, whatever it is that you're doing for the rest of your life, that outside of that label, what it is you do, and don't want to choose anything else, because what would you do? Who would you be? How would your friends and your family relate to you once you drop those particular labels and go after what you want? I work with people that have amazing positions out there in the world, but it isn't really how they want to spend the rest of their lives. And choosing a new way, choosing a new path is very intimidating, because everybody in your life knows you as that thing. All right. So you choosing something else now puts you on the opposite side of your tribe or your peer group. Okay. So as I said, I asked you last week to choose at least 5 things that you want. So let's say you couldn't get past 2. That's fine. This is not major homework that I'm going to check with you, but choose what you want. And once you've decided on that, this is what part 2 is. How do we get into living into what it is that you want to do next? All right. So this is what I do with clients. I have them choose it, and then we decide what are 2 actions per choice that you know that you have to do every day in order to get closer to that choice or dream or desire. Okay, how are you going to make this thing manifest? Now, the problem with most people is they choose something that they think they can get based on what today looks like, right? Or they choose something so lofty and then look down the road and can't figure out how they're ever going to get there, so they drop it all together and go back. And I would say this is the case for most people out there. I want you to dream big, yes, but I don't want you to feel so overwhelmed that you have no idea how you're going to get down that road. And I want you to dream bigger than what you're able to do. Remember last week I said I want to give $1 million to the food bank. And when I look at the money that I'm making now, well, how's that going to happen? That's not the point. The point is I chose it. And I'll take the steps every day to move towards it, and the rest is none of my business. Okay? So let's start down with an example. Let's just say that you chose that you wanted to start making $100,000 a year in your business, for instance. That's something everybody can understand. It's a simple number and it's a business, or it can be you want to make $100,000 at work. You're employed somewhere. So I would sit down with you and say, well, what are two steps that you can that you need to at least trigger on a daily basis, or at least as many times a week as you possibly can to walk towards that $100,000. Now, in your mind, you're thinking, well, I've never made more than 30,000, so how am I possibly going to either sell to get 100,000 or get promoted to make 100,000? So people give up, sit down, and go back. Choose two things. We choose two things. If you're in a business, it's marketing and sales. There's no other thing that you do in a business except market and sell. That's how you have a business. You have to get in front of people. So every day, your main job in your business is to get yourself in front of people, right? So you're either making daily phone calls. Maybe you need to make 6 phone calls a day. That's action item number 1. Your day is not over until you've talked to 6 people, all right? And action number 2 might be putting down 6 more names for the next day. And these actions are done religiously. They're your non-negotiables in your business. It's not about flipping through social media. It's not about sitting on endless Zoom calls. It's not about moving, prettying up your desk or shopping for a new pen and paper or chair. A lot of people confuse busy activity with the actions they need for their business. And at the end of the business year, they can't figure out how they didn't get to the goal. Now, when we set that goal and set those actions, and those actions that you take every day may not immediately get you what you want. But ask this question. After a week, 2, 3, a month, a quarter, 6 months, do you believe that you'll be closer to that 100,000 than if you didn't set those actions into motion every day? Now, here's another issue that people have when it comes to setting those plans. We tend to let ourselves down. You know this is true because every time that the new year comes around, we set those resolutions. We're going to lose weight. We're going to do all kinds of things. A plethora of things will go down as resolutions. And after a week or 2, it slides away. We let ourselves down because we didn't set it up in a habitual way. We are working through habit. We are creatures of habit. That's how you've learned to do anything. Anything that you do, it's a habit that you set up some time ago. Usually in childhood, you learn to walk, you learn to talk, you learn to write and read, you learn to drive a vehicle, ride a bike. All of that was through practice, which became a habit that now serves you. And there are a lot of habits that don't serve you. So when I'm working with clients, we are setting up new habits that now will serve you. And it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes practice. Practice every single day. Now, the caveat of this is that you've tried this many times before. You tried to lose the weight. You've been going to the gym. You've been doing all kinds of things. And then 2 weeks later, you've given up because you didn't see any progress. You thought you're going to go in there and you're going to come out buff in 2 weeks, didn't you? Because everybody on social media is telling you, just get to the gym and you're going to look like me. Those people have been working out for years, right? So you have to systematize your life in a way that's going to take you down that same road. And at some point, you're going to wake up and you'll be there, at least halfway there. Everybody wants everything now. You can't have everything now. It took me 50 odd years to get here. I didn't get here in a day. So write down what you want and 2 actions per desire, per goal, per dream that you elicit every single day. Sounds boring, doesn't it? You want the big house, the fast car, the $1 million. You want it all now, Pam. Can't you give me something that's just gonna, silver bullet this thing to give it to me now? Can't we snap our fingers and get there? Well, first of all, you have to become the type of person that can manage these things. And right now, you're not the person who you want to be to have that, to walk into that dream. That's why people who win lotteries, they never are able to keep the money, the majority of them, because they haven't set themselves up. It just happens so quickly, right? So when I'm working with people, we're setting up a system that turns them into people who are becoming that dream. They're becoming somebody who's making $100,000 a year. They're becoming somebody that is owning or doing or being the thing that they want to do, be, or be. And it's a system every single day. And as I said, you tend to let yourself down. And it's a harsh reality. I let myself down for years because I had grandiose dreams I would write down in one journal after the next. I was the journal lady, and I still am. I love my journals. Nothing wrong with that. But no use writing these things down and you're not doing it, because when you disappoint yourself, it doesn't feel good, does it? Because then another self defeating message is now planted in you. I can't finish anything. I can't get anywhere. Nothing ever happens for me. No use trying. And then the agitation sets in. Then you set up a whole stream of events in your life because you're calling it forward. Because, as I said last week, the power of life is in the words that you speak and the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you run. That's how things are pulled to you. Okay. Now, I just want to share something really quickly. I have a client that I just texted her last week and just say, how are you doing? Because I gave her something to do. This is the first time I presented her with this particular um, piece that sort of sprung off of the prosperity plan. So I just wanted to check in to see how she was doing. And she says, I have so much to share. I'm not even sure if she's on this call, so I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. But she said, I have so much to share. It's like the universe just opened and it's pouring out so fast, I don't know what to do. And I want to say, well, don't shut it down. Just learn how to manage what's going on. And we'll talk about that next week on our next call. But you see, this is what happens when you get out of the way. And what I gave her, it's not something that I give to people until they're ready. I couldn't do it until I was ready because there's a certain amount of belief involved. There's a certain amount of work and clearing up of space involved. There's working with someone like myself. I'm an energetic mentor. And yes, I work with executives and I work with entrepreneurs and anybody like that. But that's not the entirety of who you are. You are not the label in your corner office. There are other things at play here. All right. And even with all of the academia that we have piled up here, and we're working from a cerebral standpoint, at some point, other energies have to come into play because you're now only getting so far. And people are now tuning in and turning on to those other energies. It's a wonderful thing. This is my time. I've been talking about this for 30 years. Now is my time to play with this energy for people and to turn them on. My job is to turn people on. I said that last week and I thought it was really great. I'm going to have to use that somewhere in my marketing. But it's true. And once people get turned on to this thing that's always been with them, it's an amazing thing to watch, an amazing thing to when people uh, send things back to me and say, this is working, they don't know what to do, it's what's going on. I say, of course. Once you get to that place in your life, of course. So you've got your goal and you have two things that you are going to do every day, non-negotiable, no letting yourself down. But how is that possible? Because if you've let yourself down before, why aren't you going to let yourself down again? So that's the piece that I work with my clients. I said on the front of my website, there is an opportunity to call me for a session. Call me and let's put together your plan. Like the others who are saying things like, I don't know what to do. The universe has opened up. Let that be your conversation. But we have to set things up in a certain way, and it's different for everybody. The principles are the same, but how it's set up is different based on who you are and what you're dealing with and your level of belief. We work on your level of belief. This is what I'm doing with people. I'm working on their level of belief. Even talking about it is starting to spiral up my mojo just standing here. It's the level of belief. Let me say it one more time. It's the level of belief. And even though it's the same for everybody, everyone has the same opportunity to ramp up their level of belief, we still need material things to help us. This is why back in the days of yore, things like rabbit's feet and horseshoes were such a big deal. Not so great for the things that came off of. There's a poor limping rabbit out there somewhere. All right. But we placed all of our belief in this thing to make changes for us. I'm saying to you, you don't need these things. It's here. But I understand in the beginning you need something to help you. One of the things that you need is somebody that has your back, that can hold space as you do this work, because you're going to want to leap out. And as things change for you and your energy starts to spiral up, people around you are going to notice, and some people aren't going to like it because it sheds a light on them as to why they're not making their moves. I call them mojo moves, why they're not making their mojo moves and spiraling up. Okay? So that's why it's great to always be in space with somebody as you make these initial changes in your life. Right? And the other thing is to create your system. This is what I do. Now, you don't possibly always need somebody. I do great stuff with people, I really do. But to create your book, create your binder. Every great team, every winning team, sports team out there has a playbook. It's time for you to create your playbook. What do you look at all day long other than your phone and Instagram and Reels and TikTok and all that stuff? That stuff is not feeding you in the way that you need to be fed. So create your plan. And this is why part 2 is very succinct. You did the work last week to find out what you want to be, who you want to become, using the prosperity sheet outline. This week, it's taking what those things are, putting them down with two actions, and then for each actions, creating I am statements. So if you have to make 6 calls a day to connect to people, you now have to program that in, right? Because the program that you're currently running is, I can't do that. I'm too afraid of that. What if they laugh at me? What if they say no? What if they reject me? Right? So we have to get past those messaging with new messaging. Have a new program installed. It's like software. When your computer's on the fritz, what do? You upgrade. We're doing upgrade work for this. All right. So we create statements, I am statements. We are now going to plant in I am statements that say, this is the work you do. So for instance, let's just say you're saying, I make 6 calls a day easily and effortlessly. What's going to happen by 4 o'clock when you say, after you've made 4 calls and you think you're done, can't do anymore, you run off to the pub with the friends. While you're at the pub with the friends, there's something that's going to start happening here. You're not happy. Why? Because somewhere you told yourself in the last few days or weeks that you make 6 calls a day and you only make 4. So there's a cognitive dissonance that starts raging within you that pulls you back to center. This is the beauty and the magic of the work that I'm doing. I want to cause waves within you so you start to do what you need to do. All right? You don't need to work with somebody forever. You just need to work with them to get you lined up properly so you can go off. So I'm going to leave it here because I only have 5 minutes to tell you the surprise that I'm having. Okay? So please go to the front page and book a session with me, because truly, folks, I want you to feel the way that my clients are feeling and telling me that the universe is opening up for them too. Okay? So let's leave it there for now. And we're going to go on to what I wanted to tell you today. I want to surprise you. For those that are here, I don't know how many people are on this call today and doing the live audience piece, but to say thank you. I can't remember how many months I've been doing the show now, but thank you for constantly coming and supporting what I'm doing. So I'm doing a giveaway that's going to starts today and goes until May 7th in time for Mother's Day, of amazing prizes. There'll be one winner. And there are ballots that you will get for showing up here. So for all those that are showing up here, if you want to be in the draw, all you have to do is go to the chat and say you're here. You have, and I'll see the chat even after this is over. I will see who's here, and ballots go in for you. If you want to see the lineup that is in all the gifts, all you have to do is go to my website and choose the giveaway tab, and you will see it in its gorgeous entirety. Anybody that gets this is just going to be over the moon happy. All right. Too bad I can't win it, but I'm the host, so I'm not getting it. One of the boxes is coming from Felicity Design and Decor. You'll see what's in it when you go to the website. A great sponsor is Vega Products. They do all the protein stuff. And for everybody that's here today, if you just put in the chat your name, will receive 1 serving of a Vega protein shake. Have people because I can't memorize this all, I'm going to have to just read it off. Nicole Natras has given her a hard copy book for creative journaling. I talked about Vega. Ophelia Rigaud is doing a yoga and Reiki virtual session. The Beautiful Women's Society is giving away a 1-year full membership. Glimmer Learning is doing a virtual training on online presence and video presence. Catherine O'Neill has given things from Arbonne, and she's the national vice president, by the way. Serve Your Life has coaching sessions. Darcy Bazell, she is Sticky Bee marketing. You should see her ebooks, just fabulous, and on it goes. So thank you to all the vendors who stepped up to be part of this amazing giveaway. So again, put your name down in the chat. I know you're here, and you'll see all the regulations and how you earn ballots for the draw that happens May 7th. And invite people. When you invite people to my live taping on Saturdays, you also receive ballots, and they receive ballots, and there's ballots everywhere. But you know what, folks? It's just a wonderful thing when people like this step up to say, hey, we believe in you. Let's make this happen. Okay? So I'm going to leave it there, and I can't wait to get it on the chat. Maybe there's people here. Again, I don't know. And if you're visiting me for the first time, and maybe it's months down the road, and the giveaway is over, don't fret. There's always more coming. So come share your time with us live, and you just never know what Pamela's going to do. Even when there aren't any giveaways, there's always something to do, always something to give away, always new information, always some fun. And I'll be bringing back the find of the day once the contest is over. We'll get back to the Hot Mojo tip. There's just so much going on. But again, from my heart to yours, thank you. And please, believe in yourself. It's there for you, okay? So just continue to spiral up. And don't forget your ballots. Get those ballots going and tell your friends. Bye-bye, everybody.